Hey everybody, welcome to Fatso Radio. How you doing? This episode of Fatso Radio and every episode of Fatso Radio was brought to you by Volpe Martial Arts. Folks, Volpe Martial Arts is KW's hottest, newest Kung Fu and Hapkido school. Check them out, volpemartialarts.com. Folks, today it's Thanksgiving. Well, it's Thanksgiving weekend in Canada, so happy Thanksgiving, to everybody all over the world. And I just get into a little bit about what I'm thankful for. I have so much to be thankful for. I hope I cover most of it. I love you all. Thank you for your likes. Thank you for your shares, your comments, your subscribes, your opinions, your comment. I want to hear it all. fatsoradio@gmail.com. Thank you so much for listening. Lily, take it away. Fatso Radio.
Fatso, the really great podcast show.
Fatso, our very first podcast show.
Hey everybody, welcome to Fatso Radio. How you doing? This episode of Fatso Radio and every episode of Fatso Radio is brought to you by Volpe Martial Arts. Folks, Volpe Martial Arts is KW's hottest, newest, still 2 years open now, hottest, newest Kung Fu and Hapkido school. Check them out, volpemartialarts.com. My brother, Sifu Adam, brings you his life, his love, his passion for martial arts 5 days a week, 6 days a week, I believe he's there. Check it out, volpemartialarts.com. Folks, welcome to Fatso Radio. Welcome back to Fatso Radio if this is not your first time, or welcome to Fatso Radio if this is your first time. A podcast, a radio, a YouTube channel, basically dedicated to my journey through health, my journey through life, everywhere it takes me, whether it's health, or whether it's politics, or whatever it is. When I want to question something, I like to just add it to this episode or to the next episode. Some people find it helpful. Some people don't find it helpful. Let me know if you find it helpful. fatsoradio@gmail.com. Folks, episode number 140. And again, for all those listeners, all those 5 listeners every single week, thank you for holding on. Many more than 5, but thank you so much for everybody for listening and for watching all over the world. I had a few episodes ago, probably a number of episodes ago now, where I thanked everybody from all different countries. I want to do that again in the coming weeks because I'm so thankful and I'm so grateful. And what perfect time to kind of set, or what perfect segue to get into this episode. This episode today, again, 140, is all about Thanksgiving. I'm in Canada here in Ontario, Southern Ontario, and it's Thanksgiving weekend here. I just finished a good solid week of work rather. And can you tell I'm tired? And it's been a good week. It's been a physical week. I'm tired and I really enjoyed it. So what am I thankful for? I'm going to get into that. I did start a new job. Kind of working on 2 jobs right now, but I started a new job and it's going great. I'm learning a lot. Great people. It's hard work and it's good. There's something about hard work that's really, cathartic or not cathartic maybe, but therapeutic, or maybe just really good for you. And it's almost like going to the gym. When you're done going to the gym, you never feel bad, right? And when you're having a good, hard day of work, at least for me anyway, physically hard work, I feel good at the end of the day, and I feel good that I've done that kind of work. There's something about the idea of work when it's physical. Work when it's not physical is still work. Believe me, I've done decades of work on a computer, with technology and billing and finance and all sorts of stuff. But when it's physical, there's something different for me, at least. Maybe not for you, but something physical. It's very different for me. So it's been a big week for that. A lot of change, a new company, doing new jobs. I'm not going to get into it yet, but I want to get into it in the next coming weeks. I'm excited about it. The people are great. So far, everything is great. What am I thankful for, folks? First and foremost, I'm always thankful for my family, my friends. But let's start with my family. I have a big family. I grew up in an Italian Canadian family. 35 first cousins on one side, probably a dozen first cousins on the other side. I think them up 9 or 10, maybe, not sure, maybe 12. But so a ton of cousins, a ton of aunts and uncles, and just always having parties, whether it's not parties or not, just always having gatherings, whether it's a wedding or a funeral or just Sunday dinner or Sunday lunch or Sunday after church or whatever. I lived with our grandmother and grandfather lived with us. Grandparents lived with us as I was a kid. So that family is such a big thing, was always a big thing to my family, and is a big thing still to me. And I hope that my kids are appreciating it. And I hope that it will be a big thing to them. Already, it seems like it's a big thing to them, because when I tell them that their cousins are coming over and their aunts and uncles are coming over, they absolutely love it. So family, I'm so thankful for my family. And, I want to put up maybe just a truthful kind of spin on it. Like, I'm thankful for my family even when we fight. I'm thankful for my family even when we disagree with each other. Like there are some things, and I'm sure everybody's family has this, but there are some things that I just don't see eye to eye on about with my family members, whether it's my sisters or whether it's my brother, whether it's my dad or my mom or my aunts or my uncles. There are many family members in my family, and I don't agree with all of them about everything, right? It's not cut and dry, it's not black and white, it's not one topic or another, it's just a variety of things in life. And my point I'm trying to get is, it doesn't matter if you agree with somebody. You can still love them, you can still cherish them, they can still be a completely big part of your life. I mean, of course, you still need to have the same morals and the same ethics and the same values, but really, the difference of opinion is a good thing. Challenging each other's ideas is a good thing, and it's a good practice to get into, because if the more you kind of dialogue and the more you kind of joust back and forth and having a little exercise where you're throwing ideas and debates, the more I think you'll challenge your own ideas, and the more you'll challenge your own conditioning, our own programming. We've all had some, maybe we don't want to call it programming or not, but we've all had conditioning in our life. We go through school and we were taught by parents, we're taught by teachers, and we're influenced by those same teachers, those same parents, and then bosses and coworkers as we get older and we get in life. So we're conditioned. We're conditioned by media, by government, by a lot of things. Not all of it's bad, not all of it's good. So what I'm trying to say is that I appreciate everybody in my family and all my friends too, for those same reasons. And what a great example, or what a great time to reflect. Excuse me here. Just took a drink there. What a great time to not reflect, but it reminds me that that you can still love, and you should still love, and it shouldn't be difficult. I mean, it is difficult to sometimes have difficult conversations, but it shouldn't be difficult to love someone even when you differ in opinions, right? And again, I'm not talking about the difference between life or death, the difference between whether you think murder is okay and the other person doesn't think murder is okay. I'm talking about the same base morals, same base ethics. What I'm talking about are things like certain aspects of politics, that are kind of either or certain aspects of politics that are transient. They'll just change in a day or change in 4 years, and you never know what's going on because the party's going to change, or the representatives in the party can even change parties, all that stuff. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about those are the things I'm talking about. It's because I really appreciate my family, and that's what I'm trying to get at. I appreciate everybody in my family for all of their different ideas, for all of their different statements and beliefs and understandings and knowledge they have, right? It's not like people just have this opinion about anything and there's nothing behind it. People have reasons for their opinions. They have reasons for whether they're educated opinions or whether they're not educated opinions. They have reasons, and they're good reasons. They have reasons. If they decide they're good reasons, they're good reasons, right? But at the same time, I appreciate the fact that I can debate and I can discuss things with my family members. Sure, not all family members like to debate me. That's okay. And I don't like to debate all family members either. Well, I do like to debate all family members. But my point is, and that's okay, I don't have to debate all family members. There are certain people that I just, will have a conversation with and then say, okay, you feel this way, I feel that way, that's great. And other people that enjoy the little bit of the game, as long as we keep our cool and, whatever. My point is, I like being challenged, and I think that it brings out the best in us when we're challenged. And not just about, sure, it brings out the best in us in sports and martial arts and activities like that, but also the mental challenges. It brings out the best in our ethics, in our reasoning, and our understanding, and our thoughts of how we're looking at the world. And it helps to give perspective and to put yourself in someone else's shoes really helps, I think. And family's great for that, because for the most part, unless it's something huge, of course, or for the most part, you're going to piss off your family and they're still going to be there. And because they're your family, maybe it's just the way I was raised, but yes, my family pisses me off. Of course they piss me off, and I piss them off, of course, as well. I'm the baby of the family. I don't piss anybody off. Just kidding. But my point is, yes, that's what family, honestly, that's what family's for. I did hear that a lot growing up, and I do sometimes say that, but I don't really mean that's what family's for. But what I mean is that that's the kind of relationship that family's for, right? That's the kind of relationship that comes with family. If you're lucky, not all family members are like that, but if you are lucky, then hold on to that, because that's valuable and it's beautiful. And it's like I said, it's not all peaches and cream, but it's beautiful because it has all aspects of life, and it's the encompassing the whole aspects of life that makes life beautiful. If it was just great all the time, it wouldn't feel great ever, right? If it was shitty all the time, it would never feel shitty. That's part of the problem with being oppressed, is that if you never know what it's like on the other side, then you'll never know that you're being oppressed. Or if you're oppressed for so long, then you can actually forget what it's like to be outside. I'm not going to get into that. Friends, what else am I'm happy for, and I'm thankful. I'm very thankful for my health. I mean, I could talk for hours and hours and hours on how thankful I am and how grateful I am to be alive, to see my beautiful children, to be alive, to see my beautiful partner, spouse, wife, whatever I want to call it. Every morning, I feel lucky to open my eyes every single morning. Just for a base level, I feel lucky to be alive the day you're born. As you're a teenager, you're going through teens, and you're going through your 20s and your 30s, and now I'm in my 40s. Every day that I'm alive, I'm grateful to be alive, and I'm so thankful to be alive. On top of that, I'm extra thankful, I think, at times, because I've been through some things that were taxing, that were challenging on me, challenging on my family members, challenging on people around me, and we got through. I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for my friends and family that supported me through those things. And whether it's cancer, whether it's having two preemie children born, my wife had support from my family and our friends and her family and her friends, and hopefully she felt supported from me. I think she did, and I feel supported from her, or by her rather, through things that happened in my life, cancers and getting laid off from jobs. Like, my God, I can't believe in the last couple of years, with COVID and all this stuff, and it's been crazy what's going on. So I'm thankful that I have these people in my life that that I'm just so grateful to, that they're here, and they're here to support me and to love me, because I know now, I may not have known this when I was a kid, even though it still may have been true when I was a kid, but I know now, maybe everybody's the same way, but I know now that I need love. I need love is my fuel, right? Like, it's not, food is easy to get. And water is easy to get. Shelter may not be easy to get sometimes, but relatively speaking, in these days, most of us are fortunate. It's pretty easy for a lot of people to get. What's not always easy to get is love. And it's not always easy. I may be lucky because I get it, or I may be lucky at times because I get it more than other people, or at times less than other people. My point is, and I'm not trying to kind of measure up anything about how much love someone gets, but I realize now that love is the currency, or the fuel, and not to be cheesy, because love's not going to put food on the table. Well, you know what? Love will put food on the table, because it'll give you a relationship to be supported, to figure out how to put food on the table, to figure out how to pay the rent, how to pay the mortgage, how to fix whatever needs to be fixed. And by love, I mean teamwork. By love, I mean partnership. By love, I mean a family or community, whether it's a church, whether it's a club, whether it's your neighborhood, your neighbor. Love is the answer, because if you don't need anybody for anything, and you can do something by yourself, great. Give help to somebody else. That's the love that you're going to be able to give to somebody else. That will help somebody. And when you need help with something, and you will need help. Everybody will need help. It's love that's going to help you, because it's going to take love for someone to give a helping hand to you, to share what they have, to teach you the skill that maybe you need to go make a buck, right? To pay the mortgage, or to pay the rent, or what have you. And it is love. Love is the answer. It sounds so cheesy, and it sounds so cliche. And it is, it's pretty cheesy, but that's okay. That's okay. I like cheese. Friends, I'm so thankful. I'm also thankful for my health. I started to get into that, but I wanted into that even more. Like, I'm thankful that I was lucky enough to find some things that worked for me, but also that I had trust in what I was learning. That was very, very that was very scary for me to do. You can have there's a million plans out there, and there's a million plans that might work. No one knows, right? And keto's been out there for a while. Carnivore has been out there for a while. The paleo solution's been out there for a long time, and it's worked for thousands of people. But why hasn't it worked for many people? It's belief, and it's faith, and it's really getting in and jumping in with 2 feet. I'm thankful that I was able to do that with help of podcasts, with help of books, physical books, audio books, like I said, podcasts, YouTube channels, doctors, scientists, researchers, people on those podcasts just pointing me in directions where I needed to go, and giving me the information that gave me the confidence to really go for this. One of the things that, and it's not really about the keto diet this episode, but I really want to talk about it, I guess, for this 1 second. But one of the things that keep people from really succeeding with it, I think, is that it's a little bit hard to accept, or it's a little bit hard to believe for some people, that I'm just going to lose weight by eating all this fat. Like, even though they see people and they hear about people and they read people, it's a little bit hard to make that leap. But if you do make that leap, and I think it's easy to make that leap when you have support, right? I mean, if I can even just equate it to religion, for that matter, spirituality, the leap of faith. It's not, of course, it's not an exact science, it's religion, but it's not exactly measurable. I don't think it's not tangible for every single person, or at least it's not in a way that I can understand it. But having a leap of faith doesn't necessarily mean that I'm just going to completely trust every single thing and 100% and all that stuff. No. There's varying degrees of it, I think, and at least my interpretation. It's like, there are small leaps of faith. It's like, hey, let's do this. Why? Well, maybe, just maybe. That's kind of these little leaps of faith, right? Not putting all your eggs in the basket, but you can put an egg in the basket. There's nothing wrong with that. And if it works, you can put 2 eggs next time. The idea is like testing the water. And I think that, I'm just grateful. I'm grateful that I was able to, and I'm able to maintain good health, and I'm able to maintain this motivation, or this momentum rather. And I mean, to be honest as well, I'm thankful that I haven't been able to, I'm thankful that I haven't needed to have a perfect diet. And that makes sense, because life can't be like that. You can't have to be perfect all the time. You must not have to be 100% compliant every single day of your diet, because that's just not life. Granted, there's a bunch of food in our diet, in our grocery stores and convenience stores, that are not good for us, and we don't need them at all in our life. Yes, but the best way is to be able to have still a good diet, but be able to still live, and swim around those dangerous waters of junk food and not junk food. So I'm very thankful for that. I'm also thankful for my freedom. And this is the last thing I want to talk about today, but I'm thankful for my freedom, especially now when it's in jeopardy. Our freedoms are in jeopardy more and more every single day, whether it's, it was before the vaccine, but the vaccines and the mandates about the vaccines are the tipping point for a lot of people. It's going to be the tipping point, the boiling point, whatever you want to call it. It is. And the one thing I think is going to even push it over more, and I think it'll be a quick push, is if they make vaccines mandatory for children. I think that's a game changer for everybody, because a lot of people that I know took the vaccine and are willing to take the vaccine rather for their children, because either their children can't get it or they don't want their children to need to get it. And I think this is something that I hope this doesn't come into the media, and I hope the media and the medical professionals, I hope Fauci and all these people don't try and spin it as, well, because we didn't get high enough vaccination rate, we now need to vaccinate our children, because that's a bold dog-faced lie. That's a terrible, terrible lie, because it was never in the plan that we needed to vaccinate 100% of people, right? So now if they say that we don't have 100, so because of that we need to vaccinate children, I think that's going to be the tipping point. It's our freedom that's very, very important. It's very, very important to me. I understand that freedom isn't free. I understand that I'm not fighting. You may not think that I'm fighting for freedom, because I don't have a rifle in my hand. I'm not fighting on enemy lines across the Atlantic or wherever it is in the world. But I am fighting for freedom if I have a voice, if I'm speaking what I think is important, and if I'm speaking on the side of freedom, and if I'm trying to fight for freedom, then I am fighting for freedom. If I'm suggesting, if I'm advising you, if I'm shining a light on something that is impeding our freedom, that is challenging our freedom, that is making our freedom is in jeopardy. We're in jeopardy of losing our freedom. And the scariest part for me is that a lot of people are really okay with giving up our freedom. There's a famous old saying, he who gives up freedom for security deserves neither. And the idea is that you can't give up your freedom. If you give up your total freedom for security, then your life is not worth living, because life without freedom is, you're not a human being anymore. Yes, you are a human being, but you don't feel like a human being, right? You don't feel like regardless, we deserve, we have a God-given right, a creator's right, a universe right, the earth's right, whatever, whoever made us, even if it's just completely scientific evolution, we have a natural right to a freedom over our sovereignty. And I talk about this all the time, and I'm not going to harp into it too much, but I'm thankful for the freedoms that we do have. And I'm also thankful for the people who are standing up, the people who are fighting. There are many, many people like me, like you, if you're one of these people, those people, if you're one of those crazy people who like freedom, for those crazy people who care about the future for your kids and for your grandchildren, because if this is right now, if our freedom is in jeopardy right now in 2021, and there are kids all over the world, 5, 10, 15 years old, what's going to happen in 5 years? What's going to happen in 10 years? What's going to happen in 20 years? What's going to happen when us 30-year-olds and us 40-year-olds are 60 and 70? And we say, remember that pandemic when we lost all of our freedoms? We can't let that happen, folks. We can't let that happen. And I'm thankful. I'm thankful for these quiet minority. I don't think we're a minority. I really don't. I think at the heart of this, we're a majority. And I think the majority of people want freedom, but I think there's also a large portion, not as big, there's a large portion of people that are afraid, and they're rightfully so afraid. But I think some people handle their fears in a couple different ways. Some people, when they get afraid, they try and find a solution and they try and fight. Some other people, if they're afraid, they try and flee or they try and comply. There's no good solution. I understand. I'm not shitting on anybody for trying to comply, or if I'm not shitting on anybody for wanting to fight. But I am saying it's your choice. And I am encouraging people to have their choice. One last thing I want to say is that sometimes I hear people say things like, well, I've done the responsible thing, so maybe you should, when we're talking about, vaccines and all this stuff. So I want to say that it's pretty self-righteous, and I think it's pretty assuming to think that because you're vaccinated, that means you've done a responsible thing for society. I know the government said that, and I know the media has been telling you that. That doesn't make it true. It doesn't make it true at all, right? Why is it responsible for you to take the vaccine? So it's responsible for you to take the vaccine, right? It will be irresponsible for me to take the vaccine. Okay. It doesn't make any sense. Your responsibility for your life, that's your responsibility. I'm not responsible for your life. And it makes it really easy for people to get caught up with the idea that, oh, I'm doing this for you. I made the choice. I made the sacrifice to get the vaccine for you. Now you need to be selfless just like me. That's not how it works, folks. If you were coerced, if you were convinced, if you were scared into, that's great. It's not great, but it is what it is. I don't know what to say. But if also you did it because you thought you were doing the best thing for everybody else, that's okay too. It doesn't mean that anybody who doesn't do it isn't doing the best thing for everybody else. And I'll tell you why. If you're vaccinated and you catch COVID and you don't have symptoms, or you have very mild symptoms, and doesn't prompt you to get tested, you can pass that on to someone who's vaccinated or unvaccinated. So there's a scenario, right? You're vaccinated, you can catch COVID and pass it on to someone who's vaccinated or non-vaccinated. The theory is, this is what the media is trying to tell you, that if you're vaccinated, your symptoms will be less, right? Lower symptoms, that's basically the overall lower symptoms, which equate to lower risk of hospitalization. If your symptoms are lower, then you have less chance to pass it. Mind you, that's not exactly true, because if you're unvaccinated, right, and you catch COVID, you can still pass it. But if you have a higher likelihood to show symptoms, there's probably also a higher likelihood that you'll stay home. Maybe you'll know you have COVID earlier if you're unvaccinated. This is something that's not talked about. It's just assumed that if you're vaccinated, you're safe, and that's it. And if you're unvaccinated, you're not safe. That's not the case. And because it's not clear like that, and because it's not so black and white, it was an error in making the policy that way. It was just an error. And it's an error to push the idea that you're only being responsible if you're vaccinated. That's not true. What about the responsibility of social distancing that people do? What about the responsibility of wearing a mask, right, when you think it's important, or sorry, when it is important? Not only that, what about just common sense about not going out and not spreading the disease or the virus when you're sick? That's the biggest contributing factor. The biggest contributing factor to all of this would be to stay home if you're sick, or if you're in contact with somebody sick. But there's many more factors. There's the health of you as an individual. That's actually probably the biggest factor, because if you as an individual catches COVID, right, but your symptoms aren't that big, and whether you're vaccinated or not, if your symptoms aren't that great, or if you're asymptomatic, which means you have no symptoms, that means your body's handling it. If your body's handling it, then that's what you want. That's the perfect situation. It can't get better than that. You get a virus, you contract the virus, your body handles it within a couple of days or whatever, kills it and gets rid of it. Doesn't kill it because it's not alive, but it either, I don't know, stays with you forever and it doesn't make you sick. You build antibodies, you stay immune to it, you become immune to it. That's the idea. So I don't get this idea where it's only responsible if you are being vaccinated. I'm not trying to harp on anybody specifically, but I hear that a lot, right? And with the other side of that is, well, then are you not being responsible by maybe not being vaccinated? Like, here's my take on that as well. I feel like I'm being responsible in other ways. I'm being responsible by trying to be a health advocate. I'm trying to tell you and everybody else the things that I've learned to help make me healthier, to help let me become healthier. And I think that helped me stay away from COVID. Hey, I've worked outside. I've worked in the public for the last 20 months or whatever it is as well, on and off, here and there, outside, midnights, overnight shifts, weekend shifts, all kinds of shifts, in the rain, in the snow, everything, in businesses, going door to door, all kinds of things. So I'm not vaccinated. It's my private information. I guess I'm not supposed to tell anybody. I've probably said it about 1,000 times already, but whether I'm vaccinated or not, it shouldn't be anybody's concern. It really shouldn't be. Whether I'm going outside the house when I'm sick, that should be a concern. Anytime, with any illness that's contagious, that should be the concern. And that's how policy should have been mandated. And that's how we should have been, have our mandates, our lockdown should have been based off of that. If you want to do that, but treat everybody the same, that's okay. I bet everybody would rather there be limits on Walmart forever than discriminate half the population or a third of the population. You know what? I can't say that everybody would be okay with that, because I think that a lot of people have been convinced by the media, by the government media, state media, let's be honest, that the only solution is full vaccination, and that's just wrong. And I think that a lot of people miss their freedom. I think a lot of people that don't realize they want their freedom back. I think a lot of people miss their freedom and they want their freedom back, but also I think there's people that they don't realize that they've lost their freedom because it's been under the wrapper of your security, and your freedom will come if you temporarily give it up. And your temporarily freedom, giving up your freedom temporarily should only mean you're being punished for something temporarily. That's how I see it. What are we being punished for? What are you personally being punished for? If I'm unvaccinated, am I being punished because I can't go to a restaurant and eat inside? I'm being punished for that. Yep. That's exactly what's going on. I'm being discriminated. I'm being punished. Right? And it's against our rights as Canadians. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. I'm thankful for my family. I'm thankful for my friends. I'm thankful for my health. I'm thankful for our freedom. We do have freedom, and I'm thankful for this great country. Just because we're going through some shit right now, just because the people in Ottawa have lost their minds, it seems, doesn't mean we don't have a great country. It doesn't mean that I'm not so happy to be here. And I think everybody should come to Canada if we ever open the border. Thank you, everybody, for listening to Fatso Radio. It's my pleasure to come to you each and every Friday. October 8th. Wow, folks. Hit me up, fatsoradio@gmail.com. See me on YouTube, see me on Facebook or wherever it is. You want to be on the podcast, let me know. I want you to be on, and I want you to let me know who you want on as well. Thanks, everybody, listening. Lily, take it away, and Violet's going to say thanks for listening. I love you all. Peace. Fatso Radio. Let's say bye to everybody, and we'll say thanks for listening. Say thanks for listening. Bye-bye.
Fatso Radio, the really great podcast show.
Fatso Radio, the really great podcast show.
So get your butt and get in your chair.
Don't eat your nails and don't pull your hair.
We'll talk about chicken or talk about steak.
We'll talk about fat, for goodness sake.
Fatso, the really great podcast show.
Fatso, our very first podcast show.